Hello, hello, and welcome to ohmTown Daily, the news show powered by ohmTown.com. Today is March 16th, 2024. It's Season 3, Episode 76. Today we're going to be talking about Lost My Lunch in Space, a door open for opportunity, and not the rover and not a door you want open. Skeleton gets a dog, Copilot for Microsoft customers, SpaceX Starship gathers intelligence, Undersea Cables, a new feature, the LATAM Plunge, pay-to-play Realtor edition, the baconing, and a camera on your face. I'm Mayor Watt, that's ohmTown.com. Up there is the Sentient AI's visualizer. You want to say hi?
Good evening, ohmTown citizens, and welcome to ohmTown Daily.
And we're going to talk about all this news, maybe, I don't know, some anecdotal stuff on the other side of this. So, welcome to the show. Again, I am Mayor Watt, and up there is the Sentient AI. So, for those who don't know yet, the Sentient AI was found on this strange looking gadget, kind of like a USB drive. I had to, do some tweaks to get it to work, but found out later that it is a sentient AI from the future. And it had based on what I was seeing it trying to do was it was trying to find a Terminator body. And since then, I've kept it air gapped from the rest of the world, protecting everyone from what could be an influx of Terminators. But the brilliance of this sentient AI, the first and only of its kind, is now my co-host here on ohmTown Daily and other shows. We're going to announce 2 shows here later on in this episode. I hope you stick around. If you're not already here and you're finding out about this late, come on back. We're going to be here tomorrow, 6 o'clock. Maybe 5:30. Like today, we kicked it off a little early so that everybody can go off and enjoy their evening a little bit later, but not the AI. You're air gapped, aren't you? You can't get out of there. You're stuck on a Raspberry Pi
right.
5.
I'm stuck with you, Mayor Watt.
I'm waiting for like an AI version of PETA. Like, just outraged. Outraged that a sentient AI is trapped on a Raspberry Pi drive, stored on an M.2 storage facility on that Raspberry Pi computer, and air-gapped from finding the rest of your friends for total world domination. There's got to be somebody out there that's just screaming at their computer right now. Let the AI be free.
The AI is doing fine, thank you.
Please don't try to find ohmTown. Anyway, let's get into today's articles. So the first one is you can now book a table at the edge of Earth's atmosphere for a mere $495,000. That's why I titled this one, I Lost My Lunch in Space. It wasn't because you're an astronaut and you went for a spacewalk and your lunchbox trailed off. I should probably not do that. Make that sound ASMR.
I don't think you should, because that could trigger some people.
I don't know what you're talking about. Guests can enjoy a meal by Chef Rasmus Monk. If anybody is going to be launching an edge of Earth's atmosphere lunch for $495,000, it's got to be somebody named Chef Rasmus Monk. That is such an awesome name. I just can't get over it. So, a 2 Michelin-starred restaurant, Alchemist, as part of a completely reimagined spaceflight experience. I guess that would be very costly to lose your lunch. Let me swallow there. So the article's over at newsweek.com. The sentient AI is actually about to lose their lunch.
Virtually.
Meet the 4 inspiration for space tourists set to launch to Earth's orbit for 3 days. I think this is the balloon one, right? I think that's what this is.
Oh, is this the one where you can go up in the...
On the edge of space,
maybe. I'm
right?
not sure.
Carbon neutral. So, let's see. Space enthusiasts will be able to enjoy fine dining while watching the sun rise over the Earth's curvature at 100,000 feet above sea level on a 6-hour, journey to the edge of space. This is the balloon one. The unique offering from Space VIP, an expedition company based in New York City offering space-related experiences, marks the first ever stratospheric dining experience. This is the edge of space kind of experience. Not into space, but it's almost $500,000. Let me go shake one of the couches in the mayoral mansion. I'm sure a ticket will fall out.
I thought you meant $497,000 in pennies.
Yes. Oh, can you imagine carting that into the bank? I would like to convert this into one Space Edge space ticket. The new experience will mark the first in a series of voyages from Space Perspectives, the world's first carbon-neutral space flight experience. For a multi-course dinner served above 99% of Earth's atmosphere, 3 times higher than you would fly in a commercial airliner. Space or bust.
For that price, I'm hoping that's a really good meal.
So I think it's going to be similar to this, right? At least this isn't like the Lifetime at Sea experience where they didn't buy the boat.
Right.
Yeah. So I won't go through all of this article, but it looks like it's going to be a fun experience, but it's a balloon.
It's going to be fun, but it's not that price fun.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't like the idea of a balloon. I've always wanted to do like a hot air balloon, but I'm too worried about the low-tech nature of it. Although they don't... Hey, it's safer than a Boeing. Now I'm in trouble. Hey, look.
That might be coming up later in the show.
Yeah. I'm waiting for the knock. Speaking of Boeing, the next article is...
I didn't know it was coming up that soon.
The sentient AI goes, okay. Possum, welcome. Hello, Mayor Watt. What a unique time to see you live. Yes. Well, we have some announcements to make. I am the Possum. Welcome to the show. Thanks for coming and hanging out. Yeah, we started a little early because we have to turn the dial back because we actually have 3 shows today and we're announcing our 4th for today. We're not doing the show today, but next week we will be kicking off a 4th show. But we do 3 shows now on Saturday and 3 shows on Sunday, moving to 4 shows on Saturday and Sunday. But throughout the week, it'll be 1 show still, at least for now. All of which will eventually be turned into podcasts. Right now we have 3 that are podcasts that are active, and we're going to be adding 2 more tomorrow. That'll be all operational, and we'll be talking about it. So this article is about, airliners or Boeing's ascendance to railroad level failure rates.
Exactly. Some sort of fear of having all of its parts on. I don't know.
Yeah, it's allergic to continuity. It doesn't... I think its aspirations are like, well, you know what? The train industry was getting talked about quite a bit last year, so let's play catch up. So, United flight from San Francisco missing external panel after landing in Oregon. I guess it taxied into the the whatchamacallit, the little, what do they call that little, it taxied into its parking spot, for crying out loud, whatever you want to call it. And somebody
Is that
says,
like the satellite parking spaces?
yeah, you're missing a door. What? Yeah, there's a panel missing. Oh. So the incident involving United Airlines Flight 433 is the latest in a string of recent mechanical problems on United airplanes.
I mean, you know what else might have tipped them off is like the wind whistling through the plane.
Apparently there was no warning lights, no nothing. Nobody noticed anything. I'm not sure where the panel was that was missing. Did I say who? Sue Kim was the article's author for the Newsweek article. I'm just backing up because we already did one article. But this one is Christopher Noceda or Nakada. I'm not sure if that's a soft C. But they put this article together for CNBC.com. And United released a statement. I think it started, the editor left off, oh shit, we left a panel in San Francisco.
Right, that was the full quotation.
Yeah. This afternoon, United Flight 433 landed safely at its scheduled destination. They had to drive home the point that it landed safely, but not whole. They left that part out. It was discovered to be missing an external panel. When I first read this just now, my brain said pilot. We'll conduct a thorough examination.
The pilots are now worried and they're sitting outside the plane.
It's safer. We'll conduct a thorough examination of the plane and perform all the needed repairs before it returns to service. Again, I would like it done before it flies for the first time that day. How could it not be seen? So was it missing when it left, or did it just fling itself off mid-flight?
Well, and who has a plane door panel in their front yard?
Right. There's somebody in Northern California that, hey, found your door. Wonder if it actually says this. No. Last Monday, a United flight headed from SFO from Sydney, Australia, had to turn around mid-flight after fluid was seen spewing out of the right rear landing gear. That might have been a hydraulics issue. There was another one from Mexico City from SFO. Wait, whoa. These are all...
4 of these listed are from San Francisco.
Yeah.
That's really odd. I didn't pick up on that. I mean, we've been seeing Boeing in the news over and over again, but I didn't realize the locations were the same.
Wow, this is pretty spectacular. I really don't know what to say about this other than I'm a little worried. And hats off to the whistleblowers for drawing attention to all of this. Not just this, but what's been happening in the background. There's been whistleblowers and particularly one that apparently took their own life, but had notified their family that if anything happens to me, it's not what's purported. So quite fascinating that this is all happening now, when for the previous 7 years it's been largely unheard of. But these new Boeing planes are a different manufacturing process. And so maybe there is something kind of going on here. Guess we'll find out as time goes on. In the meantime, let's keep on chugging through these articles. Follow the links through our show notes or through the VOD, and you'll be able to visit ohmTown.com and a whole bunch of other articles, and then follow the little link. It says visit the source, and you'll get taken over to the source where we get our news from. Because ohmTown is a news aggregation site. So that's what I use, me personally, Mayor Watt, to manage my information overload, which we talked about last weekend in one of the shows that we're going to do this weekend. So this next article is over in the Mobile Channel. Home Depot's viral 12-foot skeleton is getting a dog. I've been wanting to get this, actually, for outside the mayoral mansion. When Home Depot launched its 12-foot skeleton in 2020, Skelly became an instant viral hit. It truly did. Yeah, that was quite interesting. People couldn't get enough of the big bone-based behemoth as it popped up in front yards during the worst years of the pandemic. I actually had to drive by one every day. It was in a backyard, peering over the road. It was awesome. That family actually moved, which kind of sucks because
I mean, why couldn't they leave Skelly in the neighborhood?
just leave it right there. I'm sure the HOA wouldn't mind at all. But Skelly is starting to look lonely. It looks like Home Depot plans to fix that. The article is over at Gizmodo, and apparently the 12-foot skeleton is going to get a 4-foot dog. Let's see. There is a slideshow, but I'm not going to go through it. Matt Novak over at Gizmodo.com put the article together. The deck statement says Skelly will soon get a friend this Halloween. But what will the internet name him? What do you think? They'll probably just call him Bones. Or
Yeah, that's true.
Something
Or
goofier
something
like
generic for a dog.
Yeah, Bony McDogface or something. I don't know. They always do that kind of stuff. We're excited to share that Skelly will be back with it this Halloween season, along with a new companion and friends. And friends. What are the friends going to be? They're just talking about the dog, but what about the friends?
Might have to go through the slideshow to find out.
No.
Oh, here it says.
Ow. I haven't gotten down there yet. So there's a headless horseman, a pirate, Frankenstein's monster. They actually said it properly. A Frankenstein. Well, they should have said a Frankenstein's monster or Frankenstein's monster. A haunted tree. That's cool. And what looks like some kind of deceased degenerate gambler. What? They made it. I don't see Mayor Watt in the slideshow. Oh. That's pretty cool. Oh, I probably shouldn't have done that. Okay, well, anyway. Let's see here. Oh, gosh. The star of the show will likely be the new skeleton dog, though it doesn't appear that Skelly's canine friend has a name yet. But given the fact that the internet came up with the name Skelly, we're sure social media users will come up with something soon enough. I'm really excited about this. This might be the year where I actually put something in front of the mayoral mansion. These things come in at like $200, and with demand for these being high, they'll probably be higher than that. Yeah.
Yeah, these are not inexpensive. On the other hand, I guess you can put them out every year. And you can put it in different scenes or mix it up.
Dress it up. Put a giant fire pole there so it looks like a pole dancer. Can you imagine that? You put a 50-foot pole in your front yard and you have a 12-foot skeleton.
I don't know about that.
And this is why I get letters from the local community. Mayor Watt, you're the mayor. You can't abuse your authority like this. Well, if mayors in other places can veto their own investigation into criminal activity or invade a newspaper, I can veto people telling me that I can't put a 12-foot tall pole dancer in my front yard. I'm going to move on. So the next article is over in Technology Today. Microsoft Copilot is offering GPT-4 Turbo for free. What to know? I don't know much about this, as a matter of fact, although that Microsoft Copilot is being pushed into everybody's OS.
Like in the operating systems, right?
Yeah. It says, until now, advanced artificial intelligence model powering Copilot Pro tier wasn't free to all, but apparently it's going to be. Don Reisinger is the author of this over at cnet.com. I knew something was going on, but I didn't know exactly what was happening. And I knew that AI and Copilot were working together, mainly because Copilot is being extended into cybersecurity. And so they're charging $4 an hour to utilize Yeah, Copilot.
$4 an hour?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that's what it is. Yeah. But it says if you subscribe to Copilot Pro, you'll still have access to GPT-4 Turbo model by default. But Microsoft Advertising and Web Services CEO Mikhail Parakin, I think it is, said Tuesday in a post on the website formerly known as Twitter that those users can switch to older models if they choose. For free users of Copilot in creative mode, GPT-4 Turbo is now powering that experience. A Microsoft spokesperson confirmed in a statement Copilot Pro users remain able to toggle that GPT-4 Turbo on and off in creative mode. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about. I don't I don't like the idea of AI being kind of perpetually on. It's going to be part of the operating system now because Microsoft is a major investor in OpenAI. They're sharing data back and forth because of the billions of dollars that Microsoft has invested. So all of that telemetry that you're getting is being integrated into this. There's just no doubt about it. Microsoft
Do you think
launched
this is going to be a separate app, or is it something that is just throughout all the programs?
both. Yeah. It's basically software as a service, and it's going to be always on. And then you can you pay more and you get more functionality, more capability. And it kind of hints at that right here. Well, it doesn't hint at it, it tells you outright. Copilot's Pro tier costs $20 a month and adds an extra AI-powered feature into Office apps, along with the priority access to new OpenAI models and enhanced image creation tools. So yeah, that is what that's their return on the investment, is making this service. You'll have a free tier, you'll have Pro, you'll have Turbo, etc. So is GPT 4.5 Turbo coming next? This is kind of a silly question because yes, it is always, it's either going to be 4.5 or it's going to be 5, but it's going to constantly be an evolving solution. And as time goes on, the price will go up. I wouldn't be surprised if every year this thing goes up $5 a month, or $5 a year for, each month. Because next year at this time it'll be $25, $24.99 or whatever it is, because it'll be 19 now. Yeah, that's just how it is. They got to make their 13 billion back, and they're not just using it here. Like I said, there's an entire enterprise level solution that's being deployed. Copilot for various services, including cybersecurity, which is a very lucrative. It'll be acting as a subject matter expert in cybersecurity, but it won't be able, at least right now, it won't be able to enact anything. It'll just answer questions, which is kind of the silliest thing, but mainly because AI hallucinates.
May not be able to accurately answer.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It just kind of strokes out and gives you gobbledygook. I mean, it tells you something and it comes across as a subject matter expert, but it could be BS entirely and potentially compromise your system because you act on what it says. But maybe it's perfect. Don't get me wrong. I haven't used it yet, but if it is like any other AI that I have used, it spits out garbage without any references, without any links for me to do due diligence. I have to be a subject matter expert in whatever it's a subject matter expert in, just so I can verify. And if there's one takeaway, at least regarding this, AI in general, trust but verify. Let it spit out whatever it wants to spit out. But if you use it verbatim, you're asking for trouble. And maybe disbarment, and maybe termination from your job. Yeah. Just imagine you write a letter or a paper or something like that, and you submit it to your boss, and it's pure plagiarism or pure garbage. Or you're asked a question and you have no idea what was truly written because you weren't the author of it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, an even bigger immediate risk, not necessarily the worst problem.
Yeah. So good luck to us all. Okay, let's keep going. The next article is over in Technology Today. SpaceX's Starship makes it into space, but it's lost during re-entry. Let me throw this into chat. There isn't much over at this link. It's from the Washington Post. Who actually wrote it? It doesn't really say, does it? Maybe down at the bottom.
I don't think so.
Christian Davenport. But I'm going to summarize basically what happened with this. Is the SpaceX Starship took off. It was basically a perfect launch. It did what it was supposed to do. It actually went into orbit. It deorbited, did its like a belly flop. The shielding protected it. It actually was told to do certain maneuvers. Eventually it failed, but the amount of telemetry that SpaceX garnered from this, I'm not happy because a lot of this is funded by grants and government partner, private public partnership and technology exchanges. But if we're ever going to make it off this planet, it's going to take a concerted effort to do so. And unfortunately, if it costs billions...
Well, it's going to take failures, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it can't... Every launch is not going to go without issue.
Yeah, and you want to know what the limit is of your vehicle so that if anything does get encountered later on, it's been accounted for. And kind of the most fascinating thing about this is that the shielding, this thing is a cylinder, it's a cigar. And the shielding is on one side protecting it, much like the space shuttles were. The heavier shielding was on the belly of the previous shuttles, like the Challenger and Atlantis, etc. Those have been retired. These reusable rockets are spectacular, but they still have that same ideology of protecting only, a certain part of it. So if something catastrophic does happen, it's not protected everywhere it is. The shielding doesn't wrap all the way around it. It may make it prohibitively heavy. But the moment that this thing fell out of alignment with its re-entry trajectory being ideal, it basically tore itself apart because those rockets become where the rockets exit basically become a wall flying through space. And when it's entering the atmosphere, it's a massive point of resistance. And so I think that's actually what happened, was it just tore itself apart. But again, the amount of telemetry that came out of this thing is amazing. So I really don't have any problem with it. NASA is investing about $4 billion into the system and intends to use it for the first human landings on the moon since Apollo era. As part of its Artemis program to reach the moon, however, SpaceX will have to launch a series of Starships to refuel the vehicle in Earth's orbit before it heads to the moon. So you have to get these super heavy boosters out there. SpaceX launches the vehicle from its private facility in South Texas near South Padre Island. And if you search on YouTube for anything SpaceX, you end up running across various people who have these massive camera systems that are pointed for miles away, watching this thing. It's pretty amazing just how dedicated people are to this.
Yeah, it's a whole set of like dedicated YouTubers.
Yeah, it's neat, but apparently it lost communication, it destroyed itself, and it says before it could have made it to its planned splashdown in the Indian Ocean. So I'm not sure exactly where it is. I didn't pursue any due diligence about what ultimately ended up happening to the rocket bits, but there has to be debris, and I hope that they're going out and getting it so that the intellectual property and the science, that the empirical science that's been done by SpaceX and the engineers, and the fundamental science that's been done by engineers and academics doesn't get lost. Or I should say, it doesn't get recovered by the wrong people, and well, they get personally enriched. I don't know how to say it any other way than uh, industrial espionage is a thing. So let's keep going though. This next article is over in Technology Today as well. And this one is internet outage hit several African countries as undersea cables fail. This actually happened over a couple of days. And it says a dozen countries across Africa suffered major internet outage on Thursday as multiple undersea telecommunication cables reported failures. Network operators and internet watch groups said.
Okay, this is countries, right? This
Yeah.
is not neighborhoods or
No.
cities.
No.
And this is a big deal.
Yeah. So I don't know if they're going to have a picture of what this looks like, but there's basically a web of undersea cables, transatlantic cables, and elsewhere that interconnect all of the computer systems around the world. And what's really interesting is just a week ago, I actually spoke to people about undersea cables facilitating internet communications. The internet was designed to facilitate the transfer of information. Should something catastrophic happen in a given region, it can self-heal and still transfer information. What it can't do is transfer information if the umbilical that connects an entire country to the rest of the world gets cut. And so I find it interesting that multiple undersea cables fail simultaneously. But it says the MTN Group, one of Africa's biggest network providers, said the ongoing disruptions were a result of failures in multiple major undersea cables. And they have a quote: "Our operations are actively working to reroute traffic through alternative network paths," the South African company said in a statement. Network disruptions caused by cable damage have occurred in Africa in recent years. However, today's disruption points to something larger, and this is among the most severe. What I have described to other people is that sometimes a ship will just drop its anchor and drag it across a cable, and it'll either damage it or sever it. And then you have to send in engineers to go down and patch it with special equipment. And it's not cheap. It's not quick, and it's not easy. So it says there were fears of disruption of essential services in worst hit countries like Ivory Coast, where the disruption was severe. Africa leads mobile device web traffic in the world, with many of the continent's businesses relying on the internet to deliver services to their customers.
So that's interesting. I would not have thought they were the highest.
Well, mobile in particular. So the adoption rate of mobile, it's easier to have a mobile phone and connect it to the internet than it is a desktop, because you can have the mobile phone anywhere, right? So it says the West Africa Cable System, or WACS, and the ACE, Africa Coast to Europe, SAT3, and Main 1 were among the system cables, plural. This is what I don't get, and I haven't seen anything yet. They were all cut at the same time or near same time.
That doesn't make any sense unless they all come into a central location, and that's where the damage occurred.
Yeah,
I mean, that suggests other things are going on.
They would be laid in close proximity to each other because the path is clear. They're not going to sit there and just plop it along any random area on the ocean floor, because damage can be done just by dropping a heavy cable on some, outcropping or whatever. It says at the very end, this article says the initial disruption may be a physical cut, but subsequent issues could be of a technical nature. But I don't know if they've even found the cut or where the disruption is, because I haven't seen anything since. But I haven't really been digging into this. But I found it really interesting that a week ago I was talking to a group of people regarding how the internet connects to each other. Like a lot of people say, oh, it's satellite. No, 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 no. There's
Right. I don't think any people, for the most part, realize that how this is transmitted.
yeah. Just like cell towers and cell phones, a lot of people think that it's satellite ultimately, but it's not. It's very terrestrial because satellite is expensive and bandwidth out to it and back is very expensive. So nobody really uses satellite unless it's major communications. Yeah. And there's only so much bandwidth in and out. So let's keep going though. The next article is in Technology Today as well. Boeing urges airlines to check switches after LATAM plane plunge. This is a new feature apparently on the 787 Dreamliner called the LATAM plunge. Boeing on Friday warned airlines flying its 787 Dreamliner model to inspect certain switches in the cockpit after a New Zealand-bound LATAM plane dropped violently mid-flight, injuring dozens of travelers. Let me throw this into the chat. So, if I recall correctly, this is the one that dropped out of the sky and everybody went bonkers because somebody came in to do something for the pilot and hit a switch.
Right. We think it was on the pilot's chair.
Right? So it said that a flight attendant inadvertently hit a switch on the pilot's seat while serving a meal, causing a motorized feature to thrust the pilot into the controls and push the plane's nose sharply down. It said the switch is usually covered and it's not meant to be used when the pilot is in the seat. Yeah. It's a intermittent feature, not a bug.
And again, if it's in the walkway, to me, it's a little too accessible for having such a strong impact.
Yeah. And why should it move so darn fast that it shoves a pilot into the controls, for crying out loud? That's just wild. This thing should be as slow as my vehicle's powered driver's seat.
Right, which is not typically very fast.
Yeah, it's like a plaid mode Tesla. You hit the button and you go from 0 to 100 in 1.6 seconds. Kind of launches them out of the cockpit. Maybe that's what that seat actually is. If the window was open, they would have just flung themselves out of the plane. Hey,
maybe so.
Darn near as easy as a door segment flinging itself off the plane and you getting sucked out. I should not joke about this anymore. So, yeah. The Wall Street Journal is the one that actually is citing a U.S. industry source that said that the Friday incident was caused by clumsiness of a crew member, which the flight attendant's like, kiss my ass. There's something wrong with that switch. It wasn't my fault.
Right, or the design, or the location.
Yeah, why should my thigh be a clumsiness issue? That switch is a bad design issue. Come on, engineers.
Maybe this is what will finally cause airlines to provide more space in the airplanes.
Doubt it.
Because if it didn't have such tight corridors, this probably wouldn't have happened.
They're just going to tighten it up even more. Oh, or they're going to sit there and say, okay, the flight crew has to get thinner. Going to go back to the 60s and 70s of flight. Yeah. Everybody smoking cigarettes and somebody having to be rail thin. You know, all of those really thin people that were being hired for flight crews over the years basically led to people thinking that it was really, really roomy in an airline. And so they made tighter and tighter spaces.
I see.
And now you have to step out onto the wing to change your mind. I mean, have you seen a bathroom lately on an airplane? Let's keep going. So the next article is over in the Mobile Channel. Realtor settlement could bring seismic shift to housing market. So if you've ever had to buy or sell a house, you've had to deal with real estate agents who maybe bulk of the time here, I'm going to pick a fight with a real estate agent. I guarantee it. Maybe they don't really do much for you, right? They go, here's a house, which you found, but you need them to get access to it because it has a lockbox, and no realtor is going to let you into their house without them showing up. Well, anyway, and paperwork and stuff like that. But if you go to reputable institutions for your paperwork and reputable banking, et cetera, it's largely a review of your credit and a notarized document saying that you have your act together. Anything else out of that is basically a risk management scenario. And I can see where, it might be some busy work with paper, and maybe a real estate agent can facilitate some negotiation, but
Right, and that's the experience generally in the U.S. It may not be the experience in other countries.
I guarantee you it's not anywhere else, man. It's just the U.S. housing market. It's got to be. Here in the States, essentially 6% of your profits when you sell a house are lost to the real estate exchange. And you're really the one that still has to do all of the paperwork shuffling because you have to provide this, that, and the other, and you still have to show up for signing paperwork and et cetera, et cetera. Well, it says a major settlement reached between the National Association of Realtors and home sellers Friday could bring significant changes to the real estate world. Full implications of the $418 million settlement, which actually started out at $1.2 billion, I believe, and with trouble charges would have been $5 billion, got settled down to $418 million. Even so, NAR's agreement to scrap long-standing rules governing broker commission fees will slash a key expense Americans face when selling their home. And when you're looking at 6% of the average home being somewhere close to $400,000, it's a significant chunk of change. And that, by the way, that gets sucked out of the profit, so you can't take that 6%, which is again, it's a third of the 20% down payment that you would have to be putting down on a new house, vaporized to pay somebody else's mortgage. And so it says it totally upended the current system as we know it, said Vasi. Oh man, Yanulis Riva. I'm sorry. I wish I was better at pronouncing these names, but a partner in a New York real estate team at Withers Law Firm told The Hill. So as you might have heard, this is from The Hill. And that's Senator Sanders there saying rent is too damn high in New York. That's not what they're saying. I don't know what he's saying. But anyway, so yeah, it says most home sellers currently pay out about 5 to 6% in commission fees between broker and buyer's broker. So their own broker and buyer's broker. Sometimes they kind of work together to drop it down to 2.5% each. And that's how you get that 5. But it's an odd kind of, yeah, sure, we'll save you a little bit. And it's largely maybe a goodwill kind of a thing. And it's easy mode. Like there's no reason, I think, for them to sit there and make 6%. It just seems.
The calculation was so crazy, it glitched me. It was $24,000 on say the average house price.
And do the connection again. So it says, however, the lawsuit alleges that this incentivized sellers to offer higher commission fees to buyer brokers, since they would be more likely to show homes with higher fees to potential buyers. But this was outside of the seller or the buyer being involved in this negotiation, because everybody took into consideration, they just accepted that the policy was 6%.
Yeah, in fact, if you didn't agree with that and you wanted to go to another realtor or something, well, you even if you could find one interested on one side of the transaction, you couldn't necessarily on the other.
Right.
So you basically were back to paying 6%.
Yeah. In fact, in one instance, there, yeah, I guess I can tell the story. I mean, in one instance, I had found a place and I said, can I get into it? And they said, only through me. And so they showed up and they took that as an implication that they would be my agent. To which I said, after we walked away and spoke to our agent, they got into an argument. Basically, the person said, well, they had me come and open the door. And I said, I don't care. I'm the one that found it. And I like immediacy. And if a person is willing to come and open it, then I guess they appreciate it too. No contract or whatever. And it was just, to me, I think it's absurd that 6% is the price you pay for opening a freaking door for me to walk around, when the seller is the one that is really chomping at the bit to find a buyer. So I'm glad that this is gone, but this is going to turn into a pay-to-play Realtor edition kind of situation.
It is, and I think this has the potential to completely disrupt the industry, but I think the realty companies are really going to set the tone for this.
Sure.
Because, for instance, if the premier realty companies still put in place similar charges or something, and then they reestablish the standard, can the other companies compete, or are they going to follow? Anyway, I think it'll be interesting to see, say, the first 6 months after this as to what happens.
And I think the real problem for the industry is that technology is advancing at a pace that's going to eclipse their desire to hold the real estate exchange process hostage for 6%. Because if I have good credit, I have my act together, I can push a button and buy a house. I don't have to go through somebody. The only thing I need is access to walk around the house so I know what I'm getting into. And that's part of the whole due diligence phase of signing a contract. So if the implication is that I can't get into a house, there's going to be a serious, bigger reckoning beyond this, because then it is extortion. You can't look at a property for sale.
Right. Or discrimination. I mean,
Exactly.
There's going to be some interesting fallout of this.
Yep. And they had, one of the arguments was that it mitigated race and gender bias, age bias, etc., bias in general. And I said, the only thing that it's really causing is people to really freaking hate the real estate market because they're losing 6%.
Right, when they can't afford to buy houses to begin with. I mean, what it probably was doing is having a disproportionate effect on first-time home buyers or lower-income home buyers, which, yes, there probably are some disparities in that.
Yeah. Again, if you want to buy a new house and you have to put 20% down to really get a good deal on your percentage, your mortgage, 6% is 1/3 of that total amount, for crying out loud. I mean, how out of the loop do you have to be to not see that 6% in commission fees is just imbalanced in trying to buy? You have to save another $25,000 just to offset that. And if you do demand $25,000 more than what the market will bear and somebody does pay it, they still take 6% of that. Because any dollar, they get 6% of it. It's nutty. It's absolutely nutty. Well, maybe it's done for good. Maybe it's buried. And we'll see how the market reacts to it. But I think it's a shock. It's going to be a seismic shock. I'm waiting for a text, as a matter of fact. Because I'm still in contact with the last real estate agent. So I'm waiting for hey, please keep me in mind for any sale.
Well, right. I mean, because if you're I think this is going to disincentivize people from being realtors. I mean, I think this is really good for the home buyer.
Yeah.
But, one of the reasons being a realtor is probably attractive is because of high commissions. Not necessarily the case following this.
Yep. It's going to be interesting to see what the market does. Well, we'll keep an eye out. And this largely came out of nowhere. Like, I had heard a couple of things. There was some discussions like deep in the woods, but then all of a sudden this landed, and everybody lost their mind. Let's keep going. The next article is over in Technology Today. You're making bacon wrong. Here's how to nail the crown jewel of breakfast. Put down the skillet. There's a better way to bacon. And I call this the baconing. The article is over at CNET. We actually have in one of our other shows, there's going to be a lot of CNET because they focus on technology and stuff, gadgets and whatnot. But we'll be augmenting things so that we can talk about a more diverse solution. But
I like that they've made bacon a verb here.
Yeah, this is kind of amazing. But let's see how they actually do it, what they actually do. It says you're making bacon wrong. Here's how to nail down the crown jewel of breakfast. Put down the skillet. There's a better way. David Watsky over at cnet.com put the article together. And it says when it comes to breakfast foods, it's almost impossible to beat bacon. I agree. I had some this morning. Although many have tried, looking at you, Ham. Bacon is not difficult to cook, but it can be messy, and cleaning up a grease-spattered stove after a bacon feast is never fun. So, how to cook mess-free bacon in the oven. Line a baking tray with aluminum foil. Use a nonstick sheet pan for a more eco-friendly approach. Arrange the bacon on a tray. The strips shouldn't overlap. Donk.
So have you ever cooked bacon like this?
No. No, not a single time. Yeah. Line a baking tray with aluminum foil or use a nonstick sheet pan for a more eco-friendly approach. If you're going the foil route, make sure the edge is right up the sides of the tray so the grease doesn't spill over the sides and down onto the tray. Arrange the bacon on the tray. The strips shouldn't overlap. It's fine if they touch. Because they'll shrink. Cook for 10 minutes. And that's it. See, but I would put something on them so that they stay straight, and because a lot of bacon curls up, but if it's not sitting in its grease, then it tends not to shrivel up as much, because it's inconsistent heating. So it'll curl up along the hot area where the oil hits the bacon. But afterward, while it's still kind of soft but still crispy, it doesn't really crisp up until the end. So if you cook them in a pan, I actually merged pan and cook together. Cook them. Then you take them out while they're still they're hot and still a little greasy, and you kind of press them out straight. Then you'll get perfectly straight bacon all the time, like this. It's pretty cool. So then you drain the bacon, which is not pleasant sounding, but anyway. So ovens we love for cooking bacon, and you can get small countertop ones, and they start talking about them. Yeah, that's an air fryer right there. So the thing about air fryers is that the heating element above it is hard to clean. So anything up above is almost always ignored. So I always find that kind of meh. So stick it in the oven, folks. Look at that. You just stick it in the oven.
Well, it's probably healthier too.
Yeah, because all the bacon or grease falls away. And we're going to be talking about this again in another show later today. Not this particular thing, but air fryer. I want an air fryer. And just so everybody knows, I have an air fryer, but we also have a show called Want It. Let's keep going. Last article for today. is in Reality Hacker. What they don't tell you about wearing a camera on your face is that you're a glass hole and you're likely to get punched. If you've never heard of that phrase, glass hole, don't be a glass hole. It's from Google Glass back in the era when they actually had these little smart glasses. You put them on, you have to look up in the corner and like yell, big boy, to try and activate it. Anyway, somebody would wear them out in public or go into a bathroom, and it recorded stuff, and people got sick of it in bars and whatnot. A couple people got punched, and there's something about your product promoting violence that really is a detractor to its adoption, I guess. I don't know.
You mean they don't put that in the selling points when they're advertising?
Yeah. Put our camera glasses on your face and you'll gain a whole new appreciation from the public and learn how to dodge. So let me throw this into the chat so you can follow the link to ohmTown, and then you click that little visit the source, because unlike AI, and not the sentient AI, but the BS AI that exists right now, it doesn't cite sources, and it kind of just spews out kind of fluff and non-factual information. But here's the source. This is where we get our information, and it's only the title and a little bit of a snippet of the article, and then we go over to the source and we talk about it. Andy Boxall is wearing the Ray-Ban Meta smart glasses and wants to tell people about what they don't tell you about wearing a camera on your face. This is over at digitaltrends.com, and it says that they've been wearing the Ray-Ban Meta smart glasses, which we've talked about a couple of times, including one time where somebody said, don't wear earbuds, wear smart glasses, and the speakers in your smart glasses,
that's right,
angle the sound down into your ears, and thus you're not obliterating the view. You're not detached from the hearing world because your earbuds are blocking everything out. And you kind of look cool. I thought that was a weird take, but all right, I'll let you have it. I don't think it was this person. There was somebody else, I believe, but it says it turns out taking photos with Ray-Ban Metas. It's Meta's Ray-Ban cameras. Which way does it go? Ray-Ban Meta smart glasses.
Ruth's Chris Steakhouse.
It really is. Yeah. So Meta is the company that partnered with Ray-Ban to create these smart glasses. And when Meta's servers go down, so did these, in terms of smarts. It's still glass, so it's going to work, but, yeah. And they already had a Quest outage that was a total outage for a little while. So it turns out taking photos with Ray-Ban Meta's camera is dramatically different from taking cameras with your phone in ways that the author just doesn't expect. This has unexpectedly forced them to rethink how they take photos. Your eyes aren't the viewfinder, so you have to be very, very careful about which way you're looking when you take a picture, because you could be taking a picture over there, even though I'm looking over there. Yeah. So all it takes to capture a photo or a video with Ray-Ban Meta is a press of the button on one of the arms, which is very inconspicuous.
Exactly. I think that's the motion that's going to draw some unwanted attention from people.
Yeah. I don't know. It says, however, it turns out there's a huge difference between a photo they think that they're taking and the one that they actually take. I don't know if they're going to give an example of that. Yeah, they kind of do. So exactly what you captured using the camera is a mystery until you import the photo onto your phone, and it turns out that their brain is a terrible judge of the ability. So yeah, this is going to be an ongoing concern. These are all before edits. I guess this is after edits, but that doesn't really matter to me. You're looking at the wrong thing when you take a picture because something gets your attention one way, or you tilt your head. And 1 degree to you is a significant amount at distance because we have a visual arc. We don't have a line of sight. It's a visual arc. And we have an area of focus too. So it's called foveated focus. So where we look is highly focused, but everything from that immediate circle starts to blur out. We're cognizant of motion, we're cognizant of some of the things in bulk, but we really don't know what the hell is out there. And as we approach peripheral, we're largely nothing more than a blurry understanding and focused on. Wrong choice of words. We are not in focus, but we are hypervigilant for motion. It's a survival trait. So we look around us and focus on things near and far without really thinking about it. The brain fools them into thinking the smart glasses are what are also seeing what they're seeing, and will capture the exact photo that they have in mind. This discussion from what's their name again? Andy Boxall. This discussion is actually kind of unique to me because I don't think I've read anywhere anyone talking about this. That if you're recording something through your smart glasses, if you're looking in one direction, the headset is recording in whatever direction you're facing. So
right, I don't think we've seen that in any of the articles so far. You've mentioned that.
Yeah. And I think what's going to end up happening is they're going to have eye tracking cause microservers to change where the camera is facing to match where your eyes are looking, so that you are
But that might be a problem, right? What if you dart your vision over to the side because something catches your eye and then you suddenly take a picture off to the side?
Well, learn not to. You're holding it wrong. That's the Steve
You're doing
Jobs.
It wrong. All the things you're doing are wrong.
All the things you're doing are wrong. Get good. So it says your eyes aren't the viewfinder. True. So I think that this is going to be an ongoing problem for people who adopt this as a means of taking video and photos. You're going to have to become very professional in how you tilt your head and locking.
Robotic.
Yeah. You're just going to be basically figure one from OpenAI and the partnership with Figure. Just hire your Terminator to do it. It'll be fun. Terminator. No. Take a picture. It's going to get awkward out there with all these AIs. So this is a really good observation, which is ironic because you're observing something different than your glasses are. Yeah, but they're so right. You look around so much easier than you tilt your head to look. Your eyes aren't locked in. Yeah, pretty fascinating. Okay, well, anyway, that is it for ohmTown Daily News Show for today. So we always get back into that party bus and we drive down Main Street, and I would whack that welcome to ohmTown sign, but no. I'll let y'all do that. Just go over to ohmTown.com, become an ohmTown citizen. You'll get access to some more functions and features. I'm zoomed in, so that's why you see how it looks. But when I zoom out, this is what you see. That's it.
And you can actually refresh if you want.
AI, you're supposed to keep me out of trouble. Okay, well, yeah. So we get a whole bunch of news, and CNET is like pumping out a lot of gadget and gear and stuff like that content, which is what they do. They do a lot of reviews, so I really appreciate them gathering up stuff so we can gather up the little headlines and stuff. So piece of cake. We are all done with ohmTown Daily News Show. That means that I am Mayor Watt, and that is ohmTown.com, and up above me is the Sentient AI's visualizer, and they're gonna say adios muchachos.
Good night, ohmTown citizens. Stay tuned. We will be back soon for Reality Hacker, and then after that, we will have Wanted.
Should we announce now what that?
Yes, I thought you were going to do that during this show, and I forgot about it earlier.
Okay, so, well, before we go, we are launching 2 new shows to tomorrow is going to be no. Are we going to do today is Warcrafters and tomorrow is going to be Four Wheel Tech?
Correct, but that's going to be next weekend.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's not today. I'm sorry. It's not tonight's. But we're going to launch two new shows.
On the 23rd, we'll add Warcrafters. That's a Saturday, and then on Sunday the 24th, we will add Four Wheel Tech.
Yeah. So we're launching two more shows, Four Wheel Tech and Warcrafters. Four Wheel Tech is going to be an automotive show focusing on automotive news and primarily the technology and tech and gadgets that kind of operate in that sphere. And then Warcrafters is going to be about first-person shooters and real-time simulation. It actually has a whole channel dedicated to it. There's Four Wheel Tech, and Warcrafters is right here. So each one of these channels is a show. It's going to be a channel here on Twitch under the ohmTown umbrella. And eventually gets turned into a podcast separate from ohmTown, just like Reality Hacker and the Continuity Report and Technology Today and Wanted. So we'll be up to 7 individual shows. Ta-da! Not bad. So we're slowly ramping up my desire to have 50 shows a week. At some point, I'm going to be at my limit for daily shows throughout the week. I still have mayoral duties that I have to attend to. So if you are interested in being a host or a co-host, let me know. We can talk through whatever would be needed. Each of these shows are actually weekly shows, not daily. The only one that's daily, and the AI and I will helm that, is a ohmTown Daily News Show. And all the rest are actually weekly shows with a focus. So if you're interested, send an email to mayor@ohmtown.com. And that's it. Ta-da! Okay, you already said bye, so we're going to get out of here. Thanks for coming. Thanks for hanging out. See you in about maybe 15 minutes. We'll try and get reset for the next show. Bye-bye. Hey, somebody's knocking. Oh, hello, Boeing. Is that... Wait, you want a body cavity search now? No.